Hello and welcome to today's esoteric collective reading. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. For new viewers of the channel, just so you know, I have a cat, and so while now he's off screen, you may hear him or possibly even see him come on screen. If you hear shuffling, I'll let you know if it's happening, but just so you know, if you hear that in the background, know that's on my side and not on yours. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I've done a pick a pile before, but this time I'm doing it in the pile picks you. So for today, if this video found you, you are pile 1, which pile 1 is Devil. If you're curious, any and all of the decks out of the two that I'll be using today, you'll be able to find them both in the description of the video. And as you can see that shadow, that's just my cat passing by. Cats could be a synchronicity. Also, he's currently laying on my tarot deck that I'm going to be using today, which is called the Moon and Stars Tarot. So you could be connected to Moon and or the stars. Also, you could have gone stargazing recently. That's come up a little bit recently. So we're going to go ahead and get into your opening card from the Oracle of Pluto deck. Devil, meaning addiction, abuse, aggression, control. Just like a few others in the deck, the Devil is a special card, representing more than a mythical creature or concept. Should the Devil card appear in a reading, there is something sinister at play that requires total, ruthless honesty on your end. The card is a call to get real about the patterns, behaviors, or cycles you are perpetrating that are unhealthy. This, in a way, is a very essence of shadow work. As a byproduct of life, each of us inevitably has at least a few ways in which we tend to self-sabotage. This is the moment to name them. Is it addiction, abuse, codependency, something else? How are you engaging in perpetrating this pattern now? This card isn't to poke guilt and shame nor trigger any traumas. It is, however, a calling out. It's highly probable that you're already aware of these behaviors and know that they don't serve you. Even if there is a comfort in familiarity, continuing to sabotage yourself only holds you back from the truest potential. It may feel scary to let go, but it's time to change the narrative. What is the first step? Name it. Write it down. Take it. Further reflection. Power and control aren't always a bad thing. As humans, we often seek the things out after our power and control has been taken from us. In essence, much of the occult path surrounds regaining empowerment and controlling our impulses and unhealthy behaviors to evolve and grow into better, healthier, more capable people. Pluto and Scorpio are both energies in astrology that deal with the matters of addiction, abuse, power, and control. So does Saturn. In evolutionary astrology, we look to all these three energies in the chart to unpack long-standing trauma and the karma we're reaping. We unfortunately circle back to these same themes time and time again, each time learning something new. When channeled correctly, many of these unhealthy tendencies can transform into an unbreakable will and incredible power. How can you redirect this energy to better serve you? Very interesting. So, as we pull tarot on this, I want to remind you to take a breather. I also want to remind you that in this life, we're meant to learn things. So there is no shame or guilt in learning something, especially learning something new about yourself. And sometimes learning something new about yourself is learning something that you might not be proud of about yourself, which, once again, that's part of life. It's my personal belief that it's our responsibility to take accountability for those actions regardless of whether or not we're proud of them. And to, in my personal belief, act accordingly whether or not we wish to continue those behaviors if they align with who we want to be as people, or act accordingly as stopping those behaviors and working towards becoming a better person for ourselves, our community, and the beyond. But because this is such a heavy topic, we're definitely going to pull some tarot to kind of help guide you in this journey. I'm hearing that Rome was not built in a day. So go easy on yourself, especially if it's something as gripping as addictions can be. Understand that when you're learning these lessons about yourself, it's important to take time. It's important to, like I said, be kind to yourself in this time, you know? Humans are capable of doing things that they may not be proud of while still being worthy of being loved, still being worthy of being human, of being alive, right? So there's no shame or guilt in looking at your shadows. If anything, there is great power and strength in being as honest with yourself, including being honest about the parts of yourself that you may not be proud of. Lord knows I've been there. I get it. I might not get everything. I'm only 23, but even at my age, I've definitely spent quite a bit of time sitting with my shadows, understanding what I don't want to be enacting anymore. I won't go too into it, but I don't drink alcohol for a reason, you know? And that's a choice that I made a couple years back, and I stuck to it, and I plan to stick with it for the rest of my life. So, once again, Lord knows I understand this energy. I want to make it very clear, you are not alone in this journey at all. I should note that our first card came out, but I was telling my little spiel. But we're gonna see. Okay, Page of Swords. And I'll zoom out so you can see. So, apologies for the camera adjusting. Page of Swords. Normally when I get pages, they're all about messages. And typically I would say they're messages from like outside. So maybe from a friend, a family member, or maybe even a company. In this case, it does feel more like a message to yourself, with yourself, almost like having communication with yourself and the thoughts. You could be dealing with a devil that has to do with the thoughts. An example comes to mind of intrusive thoughts. I myself have struggled with that in the past, and that's something that's an ongoing journey to make sure that I take care of myself and I don't, you know, obviously succumb to those types of very harmful thoughts. So, a battle of the mind, whether or not you identify with intrusive thoughts, that's mainly just an example. But a battle of the mind is definitely coming to mind here with that Page of Swords. But as you can see on the card, it has the word education for a reason. Because when we are in discussion with ourselves, we can educate ourselves on the parts of ourselves that we didn't know about. Which, wouldn't you like to be more informed about who you are as a person, since that's you? Like, you are you. So if anybody's gonna know the most about you, it should probably be you. So, let's get another card to clarify. What's some advice that the collective needs to hear to help them through this journey? Got another card. Okay. Four of Cups. Yeah, okay. This card has come up before, I believe in last week's readings. Ooh, but I should note on the bottom of the deck, Four of Wands is there. So, if you're feeling called to the fours, I would recommend checking out, I believe the reading is called You're Doing Great, Sweetie. I believe that's what it's called. So if you're feeling really resonated with the number 444, I'd recommend going to check that out. This very much feels like it could totally be a part of that same collective, right? But with the Four of Cups, especially with the upright, it's this idea, especially in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot, which this deck that I'm using is based off of. It's the idea that you're focusing a lot of your emotional energy on the things that are not going in your ideal mindset or ideal way, right? Instead of acknowledging and giving energy to the thoughts of gratitude, the thoughts of love, of how protected you are in this life, and the things that you can be grateful for, right? In the traditional Rider-Waite, it's literally an image of, I believe it's a man staring at 3 fallen cups, and then even though he can't see it because he's staring at those 3 fallen cups, there's literally a gift from a floating cloud of a perfectly fine and full cup. For some reason, the nanny's coming to mind with Fran, Miss Fran coming, so maybe that could be a synchronicity. But anyways, point being, you could be dealing with, like, I'm gonna pull more on this because I don't want to jump the gun, but what I was trying to say is that instead of focusing on just the shadow parts of yourself and the shadow parts of the world, making sure that you're not distracted from the good parts of the world too. And that could be the addiction, right? That could be that devil, is the constantly thinking about the things that are not going well in your life. And spending time with yourself, communicating with yourself about how you can rework that mindset, especially with that Page of Swords, to be able to almost see the Four of Wands in the world, if that makes sense. Like, understanding that there is, when we're going to the Four of Cups, that fourth cup that's right there. There's that gift from the divinity literally waiting for you, or maybe already in your present, right? It's like that idea of, I think of how right now in life, I have four walls surrounding me and a roof over my head, and there's food in my fridge. Those are thoughts that I can make sure I hold on to and give, I want to say energy, but I'm hearing credence. So while I don't know the exact definition of that word, the idea of giving strength and power to the thoughts of gratitude in your area, in your surroundings, right? Despite the fact that maybe there are some things that are not going well in your exterior, right? Yeah, I just cut the deck to the Tower. So there could be a lot of destruction I'm hearing around you right now. It could be really scary, and I want to sympathize with that. And I don't want to make this be like, oh, you can't think of the things that are going wrong in your life, because that's not correct in my opinion. It's more choosing to make a better balance of what kinds of thoughts and energies you want to give how much energy to, right? It's that idea of like, for example, you don't have to take these numbers exactly. The whole point of the Page of Swords is to talk to yourself to find your own numbers. But for example, I just saw 1212 on the timer. It's the idea of like, okay, today I wake up and I have a bunch of things come to mind. Some of them are great, some of them are not. I could choose to give 100% of my energy to only the good thoughts. I could also choose to give 100% of the energy to the bad thoughts. But both of those routes end up ignoring parts of life, parts of the current situation, parts of the current moment that you're in, right? So for me personally, I might wake up today and I just saw a blue car pass by, so the color blue could be a synchronicity for you. That idea that you can wake up and be like, okay, today I'm going to give 60% of my energy to the good thoughts and the things that I'm grateful for, and 40% of my energy to the things that might not be ideal, or the things that are really feeling destructive around me, right? That way you're not ignoring the reality that you're in. It's a very grounded way of seeing everything for what it is, while making sure that you're not ignoring the things that could bring you that sunshine, and also things that can give you inspiration for change, right? We're going to keep pulling on this for a couple more cards, but what else does the collective need to hear? Whoa, interesting. Okay. So the Devil card in this deck came out, but it came out with Page of Pentacles. And even though I do take reverses with this deck, both came upright. So something to do with, I think part of the reason why this message is finding you is because I believe you may have been spending too much time focusing on the things that are not ideal. And this reading is here to remind you, you might be dealing with like a throat block right now. I just got like a strange energy in my throat just then, of like almost like choking up. There could be a lot of heavy emotions right now. I think this reading is here to almost remind you that there is comfort coming. There is a message of stability on its way to help deal with these devils. This could come in the form of, if you're struggling with poverty, an offer of a job. This could come in the form of, if you're struggling with isolation, the form of a friend reaching out, wanting to hang out and spend time with you, right? This is the idea that if you're here, and you're still here especially, I think you may have been spending a little bit too much time with the negative, but there is solace coming. There is clarity coming, especially with that Page of Pentacles. It's like, especially if we're talking about with that Four of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, especially with the Page of Swords, like, there is communication here with something in your material. And even, it may be even about the thing that you're worried about. Things you're worried about, if life is just being like that for you right now in this moment, right? But taking the time to sit with yourself in gratitude as well as the negative thoughts, because I'm gonna be real, if you're still here, you're probably spending too much time with those negative thoughts. Let's give some more of the energy to the positive thoughts. Let's start working the Yerkes-Dachshund curve to the other side, if you know what I'm talking about. The Yerkes-Dachshund curve is a curve where it shows like the spread of anxiety, and how having some anxiety, like a tiny little bit, is good, so that way you remember to lock your car when you leave. You remember to lock your door when you go inside. Stuff like that, right? You know to drive safely. Stuff like that. But obviously, too much anxiety on the Yerkes-Dachshund curve, and you're not able to leave your house. You're not able to get in your car. You know, stuff like that. So, if you're here, this message is to tell you that help is on the way. I'm hearing help is on the way, dearie, from that one Robin Williams movie that I'm blanking on. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. But still, like, help is on the way. And I think in this moment, it's important for you to spend some time being grateful for the moment, so that way you're more grounded when this help comes, and you're more able to accept it for as help. For the help that it is what I'm hearing. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's message. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to take some time with yourself, and if you need to cry, let it happen. Don't hold emotions tightly in the body when they're meant to be expressed in the physical, okay? But if you're still here, please check out my linktree to help donate money to Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Yemen, and Haiti, as well as many more. Also, if you're an immigrant, particularly in the USA, I hope you're having a beautiful day today, and I hope you get the chance to sit next to a cypress tree, or maybe a weeping willow, like a tree that just is really pretty and very symbolic. I hope you get the chance to sit next to a really pretty tree today, even if the weather's kind of cold where you're at. But yeah, regardless, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.